Good morning, good noon, good evening. Wherever time and place you're listening to us from, straight from the 909, it's Mark, Andre, myself, Isaiah, together. That's hip hop.
That's higgity hip hop.
That's higgity hip hop.
Oh yeah, I forgot to do that. Mark gave me a good idea to do imitation of who we're covering today, which is Das Effects. We're covering Dead Serious, and listening to this album, man, it was completely a different experience than what we've listened to thus far. Completely innovative.
Yeah.
You're
Trail blazing.
You're talking about guys who really broke the frame of what, like, we talked about tribe breaking things. Like,
oh yeah,
these guys broke something. The English language broken.
Yeah.
We're talking about Dead Serious by Das Effects. It was released April 1992. Dead Serious is a debut album of the American hip hop duo Das Effects, which includes my
man Dre.
Scoop, Dre, and then they had some guys who were doing the production. I believe his name was Lynch and some other guy. I'm sorry,
Literal name, some other guy.
And they just created this masterpiece in the early 1990s. They basically set the tone for what 90s hip hop would eventually become or do. Yeah. And we saw a lot of people that were even imitating the style. So talk about this. This was Mark's choice here. What led you to want to talk about Das Effects today?
Well, first off, Isaiah, I want to say something about the show as a whole.
Okay.
I want to thank you guys for not we don't succumb to commercial advertisement here. Excuse me while I take a sip of this Polar Pop here. Oh man, that is delicious Circle K Polar Pop. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. But all jokes aside, so I had the privilege of hearing Das Effects through the oddest means now, and I say that because I didn't have the iPod. I had it for a little while, but then I actually upgraded to the Microsoft Zune.
Yeah.
So I had the Microsoft Zune for a good year and a half, and through their program. I believe it was like $9.99, $14.99 a month. You were able to download all the albums your Zune can fit, and you could put all that music into your Zune. And the bill would cycle through. You could take in, take out any type of album that they had, and it was virtually limitless. So
it's like a legitimate Napster.
Yeah. So along with the People Magazine's 20 hip hop album article that they had, I literally circled through everything, especially being in high school. I had nothing more to do than homework and listen to hip hop.
Yeah. And
Das Effects is on one of those. It's in one of the 20 influential hip hop albums. Hearing it, like you mentioned, it just takes the mold of hip hop and just goes out of it and goes into its own avenue of lyricism. I like it because they kind of prepare you for this ride, this roller coaster ride. Mm-hmm. You're kind of sat in, but after the ride's over, you throw all the dips and valleys and whatever. It was enjoyable. Oh yeah, that's what I really like about Dead Serious because it's its own style, can't be duplicated. Mm-hmm. And when people try to duplicate this kind of style,
obvious.
It's totally obvious, but it can't be duplicated either in that sense because of how blatant it would be to just rip off of it. Yeah. And I like the fact that this album was actually a platinum selling effort through this album itself was a platinum selling effort because it shows you that, hey, look, despite this unique idea and how unknown it would be, their authenticity shines through and everyone's into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Dre and Scoob, those dudes are just it's super oh man,
starts crying.
Starts crying.
No, because it's just like I don't want to keep rambling about this as I am.
The camera zooms in.
I don't, but it's like
single tear.
Like the Truman Show.
As I mentioned to you guys before, it's like they talk about Das Effects as much as they talk about the Fat Boys.
Mm-hmm.
they're the pop culture. They're like the pop culture thing that they talk about in hip hop a lot. Dre mentioned a lot of the sketches on Chappelle's Show would mention DOS effects. There's at least 3 or 4 separate sketches that have DOS effects referenced
What was
in
it?
on it.
Rickety Row is coming.
Chuck Taylor, right? The news hip hop.
Oh, you're talking about the white hip hop news anchor. There was the one where Dave Chappelle did a '90s flashback, and he's in cross-colored clothes.
Yeah, talking to
he's
his
like,
girl on the
when
phone.
we met you at the when we were at the DOS Effects concert, I realized I lickety love you, girl.
Yeah. It was Dave Chappelle's like, and you know, this is so great about Dave Chappelle too. He always kind of gave that wink to hip hop.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
man, yeah.
It was like you could see how much hip hop was an inspiration to him.
Dave could be looked at as a rapper, stand-up comedian.
Right. Yeah.
Like you could really put him in that zone.
His
and
whole
fits
Block
in.
Party, the Dave Chappelle Block Party movie, was him putting over hip hop acts for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Basically.
and all of the greatest though.
So so much so that one of his guest spots was actually ended up being a track on Common's album, wasn't it? Was it the Freeway, Most Def, and Common freestyle when they're on top of the double-decker bus?
I don't remember that. I'm not sure.
So they do a performance, and it goes 2 words. I think it's the no. Let me see. Yeah, 2 words.
2 words was
Yeah,
nice. That was nice.
the one with him and Freeway. Yeah.
That was a nice track.
Yeah,
They that's how impactful that show was as a whole. Is that hey, look, even
Brought
his
everybody
guest spot
together. Yeah.
is a track on the actual CD.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say DOS Effects, they were like they were like, how could I put this? Like for me when I heard them,
Original, like you're trying to
it's
find
like-
a way to say that they actually did it. Like
Yeah.
you know how hard it is to be original, especially today. But in that period, I think one of the biggest things of MCs, especially on the East Coast, is to differentiate yourself as much as possible, to actually stand out and fucking allow this style to maneuver you through your career, right?
Yeah.
So DOS Effects came up with this fucking gibberish, jibber jab type shit, but it wasn't corny. How did that work?
it was
it
like,
fucking works, bro. It's just like
it was
it's
like
theirs.
They turned the traditional setup of, you know, like a setup and punchline, and they just completely turned it into like a game of Scrabble or something.
Right. Where
You
there would
know,
be like
and they just-
punches. It's like they're flown, like they're like literally sliding through ideas.
Yeah.
You know, you're just going like a long slide all the way down. You're just going through all these ideas as fast as possible. And
They
then what
extended-
keeps your attention is the flow play,
Yeah.
right? And it's just rhythmically, it sounds good. It keeps your attention. And that's what keeps my mind on the music, you
They
know?
also extended vowels, so they did that. They just, I think, just recreated a whole nother lane and completely like obliterated, you know, just like just the traditional rhyme scheme,
Yeah.
you know, and they just like kind of created their own thing. And it's like, it almost feels like, you know, they kind of did their own thing and then they dared you to even try to like do it. You know?
Yeah.
It almost kind of feels like that.
Yeah.
The way they were, their style, the way they rapped it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I think what they did, especially for this to be their debut album, they completely solidified their style, and that once the style was solidified, anything that followed looked so much like a duplication. It's like kind of like Rick and Morty, right? Rick and Morty comes out, and there's this kind of improvised feel to it, like they're freestyling moments. And for television that's written, that's kind of weird. It's like, that's new, especially for animation.
Yeah.
So to just have Justin Roiland in there doing whatever the fuck he wants for hours and then just editing around that's a bunch of cartoons tried to do it, and they're horrible because they can't match the improv skill, or they don't know what Justin and them are doing over at Rick and Morty. So over here, when you see people trying to duplicate this shit, DOS Effects sounds like DOS Effects. You're literally doing their flow. There's nobody else that's doing the flow. It's kind of like Migos, right? Migos has their definitive flow. We call it the Migos flow, right? There are other flows that are just like the Migos flow, but Migos lives in this flow, and DOS Effects also lives in this flow. So when you hear like somebody like Nas doing the Migos flow, you can hear it. You know it's theirs. Same with this though. It's like other MCs were trying to do the riggities, the flibbities, the flabbities. It stands out.
Now, why does this work? Because, you know, we always kind of joke about, you know, hibbity, 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 hibbity. We joke about that. But how did this really work and it went platinum? Like, how is that?
They had this ability to, the album title off the jump, Dead Serious. I think the approach to their style was something that they if I'm writing like how Das FX writes, I can't half step that. It has to come from here, and it has to be, to me, it has to be as authentic as possible. But if they consistently rhyme like that, like they could have just done that on Just Some Men, and we would have been satisfied. Like, oh, Dean, that's funky. Like, I like that style that they're rapping in. Oh, wow, they did it again in Mic Checker. Or they did it again in Clap Your Hands.
Did it again.
Yeah.
What?
But did it again.
But that's like the unique take on Das FX is that they did it on mostly all the tracks, and we're not tired of it because it's a hit all around. That album to me is a hit all around.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a party album almost. Like you could play that in a party and
it
just
fucking
let it
hits.
run.
We had
That's what it is.
the day I ended up getting some really good surround sound at the house, and this is the first album we played to test the surround
First thing
sound.
we played on that
Dude,
bitch.
bass is hitting, the subwoofers all hitting.
Yeah.
If we'd had everything all positioned right, like with the 5.1 surround sound, oh, dude, it would have been
fucking
epic.
Because the
Oh,
production
man.
was
Production
great.
is important.
And
Sorry to cut you off. I just had to get there. Just to piggyback what Mark was saying, two things were really standing out with these guys. The production, of course, at that time, this shit was nice, dusty, straight up out of New York, just filthy, right?
I want to mention the names again: Derek Lynch and Chris Charity.
Yeah,
was what it was.
incredible work, man. Shit is just nice. Sample flips, everything, drums, grooves, everything is beautiful. And then on top of these incredible beats, their flow and their style, right? It sounds like what we know. We're familiar with what they're doing, but I'll call them triplets, right? They're just gonna be triplets to me. Higgity, biggity, those are just like 3 syllables every time, usually. Sometimes they'll go to 4 or more, but it's usually, 3 syllables. So when you're listening to somebody talk like this, and then they throw in a triplet out of nowhere, it just keeps your attention. And when you throw those triplets in when you're rhyming, there's energy on it, right? Like it's because you go from slow to really fast, right? And it just keeps your attention. I'm not trying to duplicate the flow, y'all. Don't call me out on that shit. I'm just trying to give an example, right? Because I could say I could diggity do this, right? It just keeps your attention rhythmically, right? If I'm a drummer, it's like boom, boom.
And out of it, they've even created almost new words.
They did. No, seriously, they did. Diggity, right?
Yeah.
And then Backstreet took that and made their own
Diggity,
version
no
of
doubt,
it.
yeah.
Backstreet, not Backstreet. Backstreet Boys did not
The
take it.
Backstreet Boys ended up stealing
Boys
it.
ticket.
But just they had their own language, and beforehand, me and Mark were talking about how like De La Soul had their own vernacular. They had their own kind of world, their appearance. Everything fits in their world, and when you listen to De La Soul, it's like you have to jump in their world and get to work. Whereas Das FX is like they're just doing it right in front of you. You can sit down on your chair and understand it. They have their own language, but rhythmically and flow wise, they're doing something that other people just didn't even consider trying. You know what I mean? So
It's really inviting too. The whole album's really inviting.
It's fun.
Doesn't
It's like
sound too much.
It's not hate. It's not like hate bars. It's not Big L type shit. It's just dope music.
In one of the reviews that we just read from, they also mentioned that there's not a lot of conscious topics and a lot of conscious ideals within the album. And I think during that time, especially in 1992, there was a little bit of an influx with it of conscious rap. Not a bad thing, but there was a lot of good artists doing it. And I think that Das FX standing out, doing their own style that was free of that, unique in the sense of where it's not conscious rap, it's not really gritty hardcore hip hop. I like the middle ground that they kind of stood in with all this, and it still proves to be, despite all the present day 1992 pop culture references that they have in the album, it might date it, but as me like being like a person that enjoys this type of stuff, I get the references. I guess I'm that damn old now.
Right.
The
Like they're all for us technically, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I got it. References and everything in regards to how many they're throwing out per verse. I mean, I feel like they were doing more than the average MC. But also, I mean, if you want to be realistic, the flow that they were using is the perfect gimmick. No disrespect.
Good first impression.
Right. Great first impression. And when I say gimmick, I'm not saying that in a bad way. In the world of magic and card tricks and all that, some people have unique gimmicks to what they do. So somebody might have the same card trick as you, but he might have a gimmick card that will do something you never saw it do before. Like modern magicians, they have their cards move. Like, you ever seen that before? Yes. Where it's like you got the 5 of hearts and all the hearts move into the center of the card.
Look in your bottle water. Right. Like that card's in it.
Right, exactly. No, you check the bottle, it's your ring, your wedding ring, right? So to me, I feel like, DOS Effects had this gimmick, and it's not a bad gimmick. It's like, when I say gimmick, I mean, it really worked for them. Because if you tried to use their gimmick yourself, they will go, hey, that's David Blaine's trick, right? That's what it felt like. So DOS Effects, to me, what they had that nobody figured out was rhythm, timing and rhythm. By the time a kid today can listen to them and not get bored, because it's a little bit of the old school flow and a little bit of that Migos with the triplets and stuff. So you can hear both of them bounce back between one another. So when they're telling you a story and they throw in a riggedy row, you just kind of keep listening. It keeps your attention. And nobody pulled this shit off. Imagine today, nobody has come up with something similar to this.
That's the beauty about being like a trailblazer in hip hop. Yeah. When you find your appropriate spot, like your Slick Ricks, your DOS Effects, your Tribes, your Nazes, like you can see where, hey, look, like these guys aren't like anybody else. They're their own unique presence, and they're a lot. See, a lot of those rappers I just mentioned had a great first album.
Yeah.
That's in combination with them presenting it. That's in combination with the major label backing them, understanding like, holy crap, we got really good artists on our hands. We're going to market the shit out of them. Case in point, your DOS Effects Dead Serious. Goes platinum. That's a really good first impression. That's the backing of the label saying, hell, dude, I've heard these guys. These guys are nice. And that's even beforehand, the work beforehand of them like doing that at concerts and parties and putting themselves over like that, doing the real grind.
And humble beginnings too, because when they first did their like demo, they got it into the hands of the manager for who was it? Some major like big name person, and I guess they told them that it sounds like you recorded out of a bathroom. And so like imagine how demoralizing that could be or how that could feel.
Oh yeah.
So coming after that, still going after it and still building, they are able to put this together with the producer I was saying, Derek Lynch, who Derek Lynch was somebody they ran into around Brooklyn, New York. I even think the way they met up was dope. So the story goes like they were at a party. One of the tracks was just playing. It was just playing, just a beat. And then Dre was it was first. It was Scoop first, and he was rapping, and everybody was like, hey, whatever. And then on the other side of the room, Dre was rapping, like, so they're both like rapping, taking turns, and suddenly it's like kind of now awkward, like it's almost like a battle almost. Yeah. And then somebody in the middle is just like, man, Dre, this is Scoop. And then they just like met that way. And then he goes, Dre said, at that moment, DOS Effects was born.
We were christened that day.
At that day.
A light had shined from the skies.
Day. Yeah, just a
certain effects hit us.
DAP effects. And so DOS Effects, the way that came out, it's the D for Dre and
the and Scoop.
Yeah, and the S for Scoop. Yeah. So DOS and then effects.
If you switch it around, imagine sad effects.
Yeah. That's what Scoop said it almost became. He's like, it almost became sad effects. So even that was dope, like the way they came about doing that. And I think they were in college too. So they were in Virginia State College. Mm-hmm. Picture that time when in your life when you're just hungry. You're young, and you just got it. You got the it factor,
and you're academically at a peak.
Plus that on top of that, So that was dope. That was a dope story.
Imagine they're getting copyright infringement if they actually went with sad effects, like Sade effects.
Stupid.
Sade sues them.
Some people that think it sounds like side effects. Yeah, stupid shit like that.
Sade effects.
I think my first listen through like impressions when I was first listening to this album, their style. I was really trying to like pay attention to what they were saying. So that I think at first to me was a little challenging because they did have a lot of the, riggedy, hibbity, ziggity. And I'm trying to like weed through that to hear what it is they're saying, So just upon like first listen, that was kind of like my experience with it is like trying to weed out, okay, what's being said. Mm-hmm. But I feel like with their style is a lot of like wordplay or a lot of metaphors. They're dropping that at the end where you have to know that reference sometimes. And if you don't know it, you end up either having to look it up or it's over your head.
Yeah.
But if you do happen to look it up, then it's like, oh dang, that's pretty dope. That's a dope reference. They'll reference.
They mentioned mad celebrities on this
mad
album.
celebrities, and like kind of like one of those. It's like one of those things. It's like, did he just say that? Like, did he just, like you said it earlier? Did he mention the girl from
Sinead O'Connor, because I gave a crew cut to Sinead O'Connor.
O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor, was it Lou Ferrigno, Mickey Mantle?
And it's kind of like, did they just say that?
You have to connect all those things.
Gave a crew cut to Sinead O'Connor.
So I thought that was dope about them. And I think listening to them back now, like kind of opened my mind a bit more to this style and not just thinking like it's an easy way out. Cause you can easily be like, oh, anybody can do that. I can do that. Ribbity, zibbity, gibbity. But it's daring. Yeah. Like it's almost like daring to try to do that. Remember with your first album, this could be a major flop. It could not work out ever. You could be blowing your chances trying to do a style like this because people might not take you serious. And so I feel like doing this style, like you said, you have to have a conviction. Otherwise, you can't pull this off.
Well, this is how you know it. Sorry to cut you off. This is how you know this is their flow, right? You can tell they're not thinking about what they're doing. It feels like they own it compared to an imitator, which will do familiar things that we've seen them use, which would be the iggity, right?
Right.
And they would just only go off of that with no context of their formula. They don't know the formula. They just see them doing it, right? It's like trying to take Stephen Curry's shot posture, right? It's like we see him shooting, but we don't know what inside he knows and what he's feeling, right?
It's one to shoot like him, but can he make the buckets?
Right, consistently and actually do it like him. So to me, I feel like on this one, because our three are the first three, man. They hit hard, and it's there's so much content on this album. I feel like after the first three, we were just stuffed. We were full. Pause. So to me, our three is Mike Checker, Jessamine. They want effects, and then like a nod to clap your hands. Yeah. Well, I think just to play off the sample and everything is dope. Yeah. But to roll into Mike Checker is just we're getting everything that they're capable of, right? Compared to the actual single though, because they want effects, right? They want effects is literally how the superpower works, right? They're doing their trick the whole song. Just to almost on some tone deaf shit, right? They're just doing their style on this track to show you this is our shit. We have ownership of this flow. See us on it, right? And then everything surrounding it to me feels like not necessarily a sequel to that song, but just more emphasis on that song. Even Mike Checker feels like it's more emphasis on They Want Effects.
And I want to say that this style too, it's another way of, I think of it like Eminem. When Eminem did that one album where he was talking like he was Arabian or
relapse.
It allowed him to bend words or rhyme things that you couldn't rhyme before. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing here is like, I feel like it's in a sense like bending the spoon.
Yeah.
They're able to bend and shape words that you wasn't possible before, that now suddenly it's very possible.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things in rap when you're rapping and you want to kind of break something, like don't be afraid to sometimes try something if it's come across your mind like nobody's done this, I could probably pull this off. Suddenly now you've opened a fifth dimension here, and like you're doing things that has never been done or has never been heard, and now like suddenly you've taken hip hop to another level or done another thing. So I just want to say if anybody comes across something like this where it's like, I don't know if that'll work, sometimes be daring to try it.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah. Just diggity do it.
Shut up.
But on one more thing before we actually get into the tracks that we are covering, one thing we have to remember too is that both of them probably didn't rap like this off the jump. One of them had to.
Right.
But one had to influence the other to like, hey, look,
we got to try this, man.
I have faith in this.
If you want to sound
look at that jump, like
right.
Test of faith with that, because maybe they both started rapping like that off the jump, but I'm pretty sure that it had to have been one or the other. Like that's too much lightning in a bottle for them to be like, oh, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. Oh, you talk like that too? Like, no, like it would be too coincidental.
Yeah. It's a piggity pleasure, right?
It's a piggity pleasure. So I like that idea that both of them in unison decided to take the leap of faith, but one took the leadership of it and said, "Hey, look, this is I got real good sure thing on like this."
But also, I mean, you got to listen to Dre and Scoob and go, they're doing two colors of the same image, right? One's like a shade of blue, one's a shade of like purple, but they're doing the same concept, just a different variation of it. Jet Li, Jackie Chan, right?
Slightly different.
Slightly different, and that's what makes this work, bro. That's why I like them. They don't sound like the exact same rapper all the way through. So yeah, but okay. So for Mike Checker, right? We're opening with Riggedy Raw, Ziggity Gadzooks, right? Riggedy Row. But Ziggity Gadzooks, right? How do you even start with Gadzooks? Like that's such a fucking Hanna-Barbera cartoon type of word. Gadzooks, right? Cartoony imagery. I almost feel like they're going through the dictionary and just finding like puffer words or fluff words
that like pop.
And then if anything, they have like I don't know, they have a system, and I don't want to assume the system, but they know what they're doing. So Riggedy Row, Ziggity Zagzoots, here I go, fliggity flame on, right? So it's the iggity, but it's like attached to the next word. That's how it is. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of alliteration is automatic alliteration if you want it to be, right? Fliggity flame, right? Easy. Diggity do, right? It's very easy to do. That 3-syllable situation is a triplet. So we look, Riggedy Row, that's a triplet. Riggedy, triplet. Ziggity, triplet. Fliggity, flame on. Yeah, trigger. They're just throwing triplets in your face. Yeah. But they sound dope in accordance to that 92 flow.
I like what they're even doing right here because it's kind of like they're hyping themselves up. Riggedy Raw, Ziggity Zadzooks.
That's
they go flame on.
Yeah,
like, you know, they're like turning on right now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, so I love that too. But like you said, Dre, they're picking words here like Geronimo, Gadzooks, all these words that like just kind of make you like, oh, okay, those are different.
Biggity burn, riggedy rubber. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going hard with the idea.
Like the reference to the Wonder Twins and making them
deactivate instead of activate.
They usually like come together, the brother and sister hero duo, and that's just a cool reference.
Them activate, like, no, I'll deactivate them.
Yeah.
like
Wonder Twins deactivate. And they're just normal people. Just right back.
I friggity freak Gladys Knight and those freaking pips. Shrimps. I making make enough noise like Bam Bam. Throw boulders from bedrock. You'll get dropped. I slam, man. So
Bam
check
Bam,
it.
boulders, bedrock. Let's go, man. You read the rhymes, I'll break it down. But yeah, so in regards to them having a rhythmic gimmick, if you want to call it that, you know, with the iggities and the flippity flappities, they're still talking that shit. They're still referencing. They're still hitting punches, and I think some of them they have reverse punches, right? It's like instead of I rock beds like Fred Flintstone, right? I'll leave your Flintstones like bedrock. Like they'll do it all backwards. So a lot of the back and forth flips with the metaphors is dope too.
I like that. And then with this, they were saying something like the reason why how they kind of came about this style is because they didn't like pauses in their, they didn't like to pause and say, yo, I'll be the guy with the phone fly. They didn't like the gaps. So they're filling it with the riggedy hibbity ziggity.
Yeah.
So there's no pauses really. They keep it going. It's like a nonstop runner or something like that.
And that's what I mean by that energy, right? So it's like we have this laid back flow, but the riggities and the flippities, it's like a dash. Like you're playing Sonic the Hedgehog and you run on one of those dashers.
It's like Smash Bros. The agility. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, to me, that's what I was saying. I think a younger audience could actually listen to them and keep their interest because they're doing both. They're doing both at the same time. And I think that's crazy.
Hot 2, spit. Peace to the Iron Sheik, rest in peace. I'm thinking Iron Sheik used to always do that. He was like, Hulk Hogan, Hot 2. Hot 2, spit, so sit. I friggity freak it here from here to Bangladesh. I riggity rip and flash. Plus I get fresh like this. Swish. Swiggity swoosh, kid, you'll get it done. Scorched for fun. I riggity rhyme like no one.
Oops.
I biggity bum, riggity rush, chickity chumps. I'm savage. I shake them up and down them like the Dow Jones average. Piece to the stock market.
Piece to the Dow Jones average. You are with the group. Like DOS effects are always using comparisons and metaphors.
Right. Exactly.
I riggedy rap like, and then people are waiting. Like who? Like you?
Yeah,
like
what?
no one.
Like zero.
Exactly.
Dude, all references here, everywhere.
Good point. So out of this whole thing, we're getting references to this, to that, to this. I'm like this, to that, to, and then when it comes to the rapping, that's the one oddball out. Like, that's a great point to bring out of this verse.
I am a series of similes, except when it comes to my own style.
Yeah,
there's
sick.
no comparison,
That's
no
sick.
simile whatsoever.
Yeah, that's sick. I'm
But
cocky
Higgity-
like Rocky.
Yeah.
Biggity bang the best. I'm chickadee tell your friend chump because here comes the
That's
DOS
effects. Let's go.
So I
But
love
then
that.
Scoob is not missing a beat either. They're both on it, man. They really got it, bro. Higgity hoy there, matey. Ya giggity gots to flow. My Saturday nights are liver than Joe Piscopo.
Piscopo.
Piscopo, I can't even say it right.
Ooh, the
So, yo-
references this like
Okay, yeah, they're very referential.
Yeah.
Very referential.
And again to the words they're choosing Joe Piscopo is a dope name to rap with.
Right.
Joe
Yeah.
Piscopo.
Right,
like,
right. Oh, and that's what I'm saying. They're going for harder rhymes, but when I listen to them, I'm like mentally not looking for big 4 or 5 syllable rhymes like I would with like Tone Deaf or Cannabis or anybody like them. Right. I'm not listening for that. I'm more so engaged with the rhythm and their timing. Like I mentioned before, they're like drummers when they rap. Other MCs are like different instruments, Tech Nine is a guitar, right? He's so guitar. If you listen to him, that's all you hear. He just sounds like a black metal guitar. Nas can be more piano-like or trumpet-like. Biggie Smalls, trumpet. Rakim, trumpet, right? They all have those rhythmic signatures. Where it comes to DOS effects, they are drummers, and it feels like drums because the riggedy is just you playing with them sticks, boom, clap, tick boom, clap, boom, clap, tick boom, clap, boom. Like they're just throwing in little paradiddles or whatever the fuck you want to call them, and it just works. It works really well. I think the triplets just keeps my attention, dude, and on top of the references, though, like you said, you have to like catch up with what they're doing. It gives me incentive to keep listening, man.
Exactly.
That's how you get a platinum album. If I have to run that shit back on vinyl, this shit is working.
Right.
I'm higgity hots the trot. I giggity gots the mots plus jewels and dreads. So toots call me Goldilocks. I giggity catch the scoop from Peter Jennings. So do the spin like the mag inside like Peggy Fleming.
Look how many references.
Or siggity smack a fag and yoke him until he squeals. I Hawaiian punch the captain. Now I'm maxing with Tennille. Captain and Tennille.
That's a lot
Hawaiian
of
punch.
Mott's.
Peggy Fleming.
Goldilocks.
Peter Jennings and Peggy
Jennings.
Fleming.
Right.
And Boomer, what was his first name?
Oh, Boomer Esiason, yeah.
Esiason,
Oh, yeah.
Boomer.
So let's circle back to the bar before the
Even
Mott's
that,
joint.
Joe Piscopo and
Yeah.
Charlie Tuna,
Yeah.
all these little
unique names. Like that's a later on Eminem trick, right? Eminem, like he's like, if I run out of rhymes, I just use weird names, right?
It almost sounds like a mafia gang or something. Yeah. Charlie Tuna, Joe Piscopo, some Boomer, and Mott's.
Yeah, so Siggity saved the bait for Charlie Tuna. See, I be the boogie banger like his Eisen's the boomer.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Dropping like
Now-
big bombs.
Let's say this: they're so referential in a nerdy way, bro. Right? They're not being, I'll call it like destructive. So like, not every bar is I'm gonna eliminate you like Godzilla. I'm gonna destroy your town like big horrible thing. They're just using kind of nerd references, wrestling shit that we know, right? I feel like that kind of keeps you, like if you rap good, you can be on your street shit, right? But if you're smart enough and other people are interested in what you're interested in, you can make that shit work. Like Dragon Ball Z lines back in the day were kind of hard to land, but nowadays everybody do a Dragon Ball Z line. So I feel like they're just referencing things that people of the youth of that period would fuck with.
And I like how they're kind of detailed. Like it's not a big cultural reference. I think like, okay, yeah, I mean, in some senses, maybe some of them are, but some of them are very small, like Charlie Tuna.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the how detailed like of a reference that is to mention Charlie Tuna. Who's going to reference that?
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, exactly. Or Gots the Mott's. Who's
Yeah.
going to reference that? Like,
Yo,
that's a
man.
commercial.
Better mention your favorite applesauce on this Barbie.
And
I like Mott's.
So that's pretty cool. Maybe somebody might reference Peter Jennings, maybe, but there's some references in here. Like he wants to get with Tennille, like, that's just like so
Smack the
random, but
captains, now he's chilling with
but
Tennille.
that's what makes it dope though, because somebody who gets that reference and who hears it the first listens, it's like, dang, he just said he wants to get with Tennille. Like, you know what I mean? That's like somebody saying like
disregarding captain. Too.
right. That's like somebody
Captain.
to us saying like Topanga or something, or like
Well, like,
good or something. Somebody
I'll
we
slap
know.
Jay-Z so I can get with Beyonce or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Easy
Something to
lines,
that
yeah.
effect, yeah.
So I think
Something
that's
to that effect. Some DOS effects. Some one effect.
Crazy Dre's comes through again. Ooh wee! Taking time to get buck wild. Call me Butterfingers because I drippity drop. Enough styles. Iggity eeny mini miny mo.
It's hard to even read the shit.
Shiggity boom bap. I'll snatch a rapper by the toe. So I love how he's going into these kind of like these nursery rhymes almost and like playing with them too.
That's what I wanted to get into. They use a lot of idioms, right? It is what it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles, right? Figures of speech, but they're doing something weird. I mean, their entire style plays with figures of speech, but they bend them in weird way, right? In weird ways. So it's like instead of, the idiom is that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? But I'll be the one to crumble like that's the way the cookie is. Like they'll flip it that way, and they'll just throw all the pieces around, and it'll land on it, But the eeny, meeny, miny, mo, right? That isn't technically an idiom, but it's like it's a figure of speech that we're all familiar with, right? Based on the nursery rhyme. When you hear these eeny, meeny, miny, mo, it's like gibberish words still.
They're literally playing with the alphabet with us, like in front of our faces, they're playing with it, like mixing it up.
Real quick, Hannibal Buress, as Eshu Toon. Hannibal Buress is a really funny comedian. He has a rap persona named Eshu Toon, and he put out this joke song where he just grabbed every gibberish word out of the dictionary and tried to rhyme them. So it's like... pumpernickel, right? He's trying to rhyme stupid shit like that, right? And just these dumb flabbergasted, leave him flabbergasted, got the parry, after our paradiddle, right? He's just saying these dumb words. But after you listen to the verse for a while, it sounds like this. Because he's just doing these dumb ass words that flippity flappity, flammulent, like he's using words that don't make sense. So in this context, it's like they're taking almost junk words and then putting them in a flow that works. I call them junk words because, eeny, meeny, miny, mo isn't usable. You know what I'm saying? Like, outside of the reference of the nursery rhyme, they make it sound like they're talking about something else.
Right.
Talking about something. So, yeah, man, they're dope. They're dope.
Is there anybody today, like in today's hip-hop scene that is kind of doing something similar to this, like making their own thing?
Migos, that's the only one. Migos. No question.
Yeah.
Migos.
Just...
Migos.
Yeah, in the context of just saying whatever comes to their mind and being able to, I want to take Andre's vocab for this, like style bend it to make it rap. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect example of the early genesis of that. A lot of people have DOS effects to thank to be so to create the style first, make it successful, and then have other people be like, man, like, this sounds kind of like DOS effects.
It does.
But, this is my style of how I'm going to do it. And, not people aren't going to take the miggities, the ziggities, and all that.
They'll do a different version of it.
But people will use these like
happity tappities.
I will say the only person that came to mind right now was maybe Lil Wayne for a little bit because he was creating words that I never heard. Bling bling.
Right.
That wasn't a thing until he said it.
Okay.
I think he created some other ones too. I can't remember right now, but
swag is defined through his music.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so Wayne, I can see Wayne for sure. Rock Marciano. All right. A lot of cats rap like Rock Marciano on just a random ass loop, right? And then they're just rhyming lazy as can be. Crazy at the heat, made me have to be. Had a baby on the street. Like that's how people, they're like doing this lazy, lifeless flow. It's not a bad flow. It's Rock's flow though. Everybody, it's like Rock sounds like Rock's not yelling at you in his newer music. Rock is like whispering almost. He almost whispers his flow out.
Another person came to mind right now, Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
Shizzle my izzle vizzle.
But still, even then, it's like, everybody was like taking bits and pieces, but it was always going to be in reference to Snoop.
Be Snoop, so.
MF Doom had carte blanche to do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And because I remember it was like what did he say? I cracked the back of a chick of two high. I
wrote this off of two heinies.
Oh yeah,
and boy, it was fine.
Yeah, this is like
two heinies.
Yeah, it's like two Heinekens or
two asses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Doom the way he like constructed words for sure.
Yeah.
But if I would say like, a lot of the newer guys, if they rap on a loop with no drums, they listen in the Rock Marciano for sure, or Ka, but they're the same kind of style. And then Tech Nine. Tech Nine for sure.
Does Little Yachty experiment at all with words or anything like that?
Yeah, but it's not in a manner that people can duplicate that works, right? If I duplicate Lil Yachty's style, it's just kind of whack. But Lil Yachty can do it however he wants to because it's like he's Lil Yachty. But if I were to try to go into his direction and just be direct, not whack, but just direct with my bars, I made money today. I have this much money in my account, right? it won't sound as cool as Lil Yachty. But for sure, the newest guys, the underground cats, they all rapping like Rock Marciano. And then a lot of the guys that want to be super lyricists, they rap like Tech Nine or Super M in Rap God. Like they rap like M on Rap God. Every single one that wants to be like a super underground cool rapper, they rap like Rap God Eminem or Tech Nine. So Tech Nine makes his own vernacular, his own terms, but his flow is something you cannot fake. It's like, that's definitely Tech. You can't turn it off.
Yeah. All right, interesting. Okay, so we're going on.
Yeah, I have big shout out to them actually referencing, I believe it's going to be Streetcar Named Desire. I take no shorts. I'm not the fella. I can't even act. Stella, who? Stella, who? Yo, Stella. Here siggity comes the bum rush. Mayday, no static. A niggity no more kids than Bebe. Bebe's kids.
Yeah.
And then, yo, higgity, hey, not Dwayne, but I got props. I biggity bust rhymes like Slick Rick bust shots. So when in a Streetcar Named Desire, remember Marlon Brando ends up going, Stella, Stella. Like, I like the fact that they're actually using that in
Put that into
song.
the song, yeah. I want to reference really quick. I'm going to start kind of creating this down. So
He's gonna start writing.
I know. Start writing lyrics now.
I have 80. He's counting all the iggities and all the songs. Like so far, I have 856 iggities.
So far, I got 900 iggities. Lickety, splickities. Lickety, splickety. What I wanted to say is we just passed the line here. Crazy Dre says, so give me the mic. Here's another one of those lines again. I'll lickety light it up like Uncle Fester. Another reference to how somebody, references with the mic.
Yes.
Another mic reference.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, you were talking about 4 bars up from what I mentioned as well.
Yeah, so I just want to note that
Yep.
because I want to start kind of keeping track of rappers and their references to the mic and how they hold the mic, or
like that.
who comes after the mic. I love that. I want to kind of make a compilation of all that.
Don't touch the mic like it's A's on it.
Yeah.
Lickety light it up like Uncle Fester. But Uncle Fester, man, they were doing a lot of Uncle Fester bars, blowing shit up because Adam's Family was popping.
Yeah. There's a 4th verse on this from Crazy Dre's, right?
I stiggity stole an apple from this bum named Bonita. So a Tribe
Bonita
Called
Apple
Quest.
Bottom.
Reference to
Bonita
Tribe.
Apple Bottom.
Yeah. I stole an apple from a bum named Bonita. So it's like can we say it's a backhanded reference to Bonita Apple Bum?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Busting heads with Eric Sherman and my man Parrish Smith. Anyone know, guys, who those are? EPMD.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Who,
It's supposed to be Eric Sherman and Parrish Smith. Yeah.
Were they a part of EPMD or was
No,
that
they
like,
their group.
they're just closely associated, right? Or they I think backed them up or something.
It was
Whip out the Bible real quick.
yeah, hold on. It was let's see let's
In
go in
verse
order
It's
here.
the lyric Bible, bro.
Dougie
verse
Fresh,
3 of
Frost,
EPMD.
Eric B. Rakim.
Turn to chapter
Go to
EPMD.
chapter Rakim.
Yeah, the Dev Squad crew, EPMD and
Okay,
DOS
so they
Effects,
were
along with K
associated.
Solo and Redman.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Redman in there too.
Yeah.
Oh, that matter of fact, that reminded me. I think this beat. Redman and Method Man also kind of did like some sort of cover. I think it was to this beat. They used this beat and kind of did like another rendition of it.
I haven't heard.
So it was pretty cool. Redman and Method Man. Yeah, they did like a cover of this track, which is a pretty cool reference.
dope.
What do you feel about let's roll it to Jessamine.
Yeah, let's go to Jessamine. Jessamine was one.
Jessamine.
Jessamine was one that Mark really felt.
He was like getting emotional when we were listening to it before we
emotional
started.
about because he really wanted us to hear this. He said that Dre and I passed this one up.
Yeah, he's like, guys, close your eyes and just hold my hands. And we held his hands, and he,
You turn off the lights. I was like, what's this all about? Turn on a black light.
You're all like, is that lavender oil? What are you doing?
Why am I getting massaged right now?
Because you got to feel this and the song.
We're just some men.
So we were just some men listening to this in a dark room. Just some men listening to this in a dark room. I like the intro starts off like it's not a typical hip hop intro. It's like it sounds like it's like the bass line starts off. It sounds like it's gonna be a jazz song in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, well, I'm the Jabberjaw, Hanna-Barbera, like Shabba.
Shabba.
Ranks making bank, operating like Trapper. So Shabba Ranks, Shabba Ranks.
Shaba.
John Trapper, John MD. That's what folks tell me. I plan on going far and be a star like Marcus Welby. So there, dear. Yep, Pseudo. Yes, I make the ruckus, causing ruckus like Menudo. Or Judo. I kicks it. I throws them when I gamble. And when I swing my thing, I take a swing like Mickey Mantle.
Ooh.
Hey, okay, so since we're here, right? Do you think rhyming in references can aid you badly or good?
Yeah, I was thinking the same
like
thing.
Family Guy. Like if we watch Family Guy 20 years from now, is it gonna hit like
Seinfeld's another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reference, and it kind of dates you. It dates you.
It dates you and it anchors you to a time. But if you go Aesop Rock with it and it's just like it's just a vast universe with references all the way down to fucking Shakespeare, you know, or even Lupe, you know, he references all the way back to Shakespeare.
If you reference things that are timeless in the effect, like the last lyric that we had with Menudo, definitely dated.
Yeah.
We have, Judo and then the Mickey Mantle one. Mickey Mantle is always going to be referenced in baseball.
Fine. Yeah, that's like reference.
I got more flavors in a pack of Annihilators. Like we still got Annihilators today. That's still gonna land.
There's a few in there like where the Sinead O'Connor thing. Like we'll end up getting to that when we do. But
Alicia Keys and J. Cole were talking about this because J. Cole was like, what inspires you anymore or whatever. And she's like, I just want to write timeless music. Yeah. Like music that's going to forever be around and it's going to still hit. And I think to your point, Dre, I think that sometimes, although you might get that instant, and Eminem had a lot of this too, a lot of pop culture references, and it dates you into that time frame. And I guess all that matters here is whether they're still doing it and making new music or not. Because if they're not making new music, then you're kind of behind. Your track is left in the past.
Yeah, but don't stop till you get enough though, compared to any of these, right?
Right.
Don't stop till you get enough. He's not talking. Don't stop till you get enough, like the Incredible Hulk, right? That's how it would sound today. Right. Like so, as referenceless as "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" is, it's timeless, right? Yeah. So as a rapper though, we just know we referencing everything, right?
Yeah, we reference our present state, and our present state is always going to be
the most powerful version of whatever is available.
A decade out from our present state of rhymes. I mean, I got rhymes talking about the iPhone 4, and that's super dated. There's tons of rhymes. I'm just like, oh god, like
using the Zoom.
Yeah, TiVo. I think I mentioned I'm that dated that I remember I mentioned Shaq and TiVo.
You mentioned the TV Guide.
Watch how I rhyme. Look up my shows like the TV Guide.
Or the one that really always dates you when I hear it is when they reference a pager. I'm like,
pager?
Oh, man,
oh the Sky Pager. Yeah, they even mentioned the Sky Pager.
Pagers and memory cards.
Yeah.
The
big. Sure dates you.
After the Now Laters joint, this one's funny.
The Keebler joint.
Yeah, beg your pardon, Mr. Keebler, but I love vanilla wafers. See, I got it going on because of the songs that I write. I got it going on because my crew's enough height. I zig them, I zag them, I brands them like Zorro. I shop at Agostino for a bag of Stella Doro breadsticks. Oh yes, it's the book. This is the books plus 3 of my cousin Crazy Dre's, A Blitz and D. Because we're just some men that's on the mic. Got the Slick Rick cut in there too.
That one too is like there's certain words that it's like you got to do it right. If you throw Zorro out there, you got to rhyme that one right.
But Zorro was hot at the time, so it works. All the references are on time, I feel like, and as like younger MCs today, right? They're referencing Steven Universe and shit, like and One Piece, animes and shit I've never seen, So it's really about what you're rapping to. So I feel like how did they go platinum? How? Like what did they do to go platinum with what they have? I think it's more
maybe it's
the sound, it's the style, man. So yeah. Ziggity yes, back up. I just came like Shaka Zulu. I popped the Orville like Red and Baka. That's like popcorn, right? So yeah, when I'm proper, I diggity dibble dabble with my winnings. I drop a Def Jam as if my name was Russell Simmons. Oh, I just love that shit, man. I'm funky, spunky. I clock bread like Wonder. So of course, Wonder Bread. So once again, this is one of them backwards one. I clock bread like Wonder, right? So I jump up and flex, make you think I'm Jane Fonda. A shiggity slam burrito. I'm laid back like Tito, because Tito handle business on the bass. I got or guitar. I'm fucking up. A good God's enough wisdom like Mama Montego, amigo, se puente, and then he goes into Spanish. Like so, come on, man. Out of all this style that they're throwing on this bitch, man, it's like How could you duplicate? How can you take it from them and expect it to work?
It's so funky, man. That's like the best thing that I could get from this. It's not, this style is funky as all hell. It's just like, even in the beginning, like you just hear that setup, the doom, 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 and then you're bobbing your head off the jump. And then when they come off, like, oh man, I'm the jabber. Like, okay, hell yeah. Like
the jibbity jabba jammage. Like that's that right there. The jibbity jabba jammage, right? That's so fucking, it's just gibberish, man. But it works. How does gibberish work? So it's like, instead of a filler bar, right? They don't have filler bars. A filler bar is like we just say some shit to keep it moving, right? This one, it's like they have filler flows or phrases or something.
And this is something you'd prefer over dead space.
Right.
Or
but we can't do that shit now, right? Where it would be like a blank spot. We can't fucking fill it with bullshit, you know? I think the most modern version of filling in space is like Nicki Minaj and them, right? So what Nicki does is, you know, where she would take a deep breath before she starts rapping. She'd be like, rap and start rapping. They'll do the, what are you gonna do when I do this, right? So they just kind of chop her with production into the song, and you don't hear her take a deep breath. And all of her bigger breaths, they just do the chopping effect, and they do a stutter effect. That's like their style, you know? But this shit is different. It's totally different. It's like a filler word with like gibberish words that fucking lands on a word that makes sense. So jibbity jibba jabber. We know what jabber is, but what is the fucking jibbity jibba, man?
This is like the high risk, high reward kind of thing. And we saw this high risk granted a high reward in the terms of the selling effort.
Right. I got crazy smarts like that kid Doogie Howser.
I think it's, you know, and maybe what makes this, what gives this credibility is because they have interweaved in here all these references that are legit, or things that they're saying, you know, actually does make sense. It's kind of like, have you guys ever seen the thing where they kind of like do one of these tests where they will mix the word up, but as long as they have the two letters at the front and at the end, you can still read it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of these like things where it's like, they're mixing all these things up, like from hibbity, bibbity, gibbity, and then they'll throw in like, you know, clock bread, like wonder, like there's actually something there.
And you'll still get it.
And you'll still get it. So it gives it credibility because it's not completely all gibberish.
He higgity hits the beat.
Yes.
Like Tyson on the mic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
so
I'm Tyson
there's
on
like
the
something there. Yeah, it's kind of like winding up, like as you say it, like hibbity, hibbity, pump.
Yes,
like
exactly that.
Shit.
Exactly that.
You know,
exactly
it's like
that.
a wind up.
It like makes the word bigger,
Yeah.
right? It makes the word cooler. I piggity punch the mic, right? I grippity grab
like
this.
that.
Yeah. I grippity grab this.
Pause. I piggity pause when I grippity grab that.
Hey, yo.
Iggity yo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's what they do, man. It's like part of their move. I love it.
Part of the move, man.
So check it. 1 for the money, 2 for the show. Thunder.
Thundercats. Ho!
Like that kind of referential shit we don't do anymore, man. That doesn't like we don't get away with that anymore.
This is the first time they ever, anyone's ever referenced that they're going to be making yen instead of the money. Mm-hmm. When he says, "Yep, I got my mom, I got my girl, I got my friends." In the States, I'm making dollars. In Japan, I'm making yens. With the new style. Meanwhile, my real name is William. I want to break a slut like Donald Trump can break a million.
Trump's still getting love.
Or zillion. I kills him. I watches all my children. I'm hard as Plymouth Rock, you silly schmuck. So just ask the pilgrims.
I stick at a stagger. Like Trump with MAGA. No, just kidding. I'll predict in the future.
I was strong from the get-go. I'm not Lou Ferrigno. I never caught the cooties from a floozy or a bimbo. That's a
like
good.
Chico, I'm the man. Yes, indeed. I got the smart so Chico the man.
In the beginning, that's a cool Pumping Iron reference. I'm not strong from the get-go. I'm not Lou Ferrigno. Like where Lou Ferrigno was actually like pretty built before he even went to bodybuilding.
See, that's the thing is like those references, it either goes over your head or if you do know it, it hits. Cause it's just like, damn, that's crazy.
I think a punchline really hits if you're trying to explain the line and you say more than 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, he's just talking about being hot as fire. Yeah. All right. But now he's like, no. In the earlier days, the Mayans believed the sun was this. So he says, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to think that deeply about some shit. That's what they remind me of. Like the only person that's doing that lately is like Kambata. Like Kambata, you'll break down a line and go, I have to read a chapter of a book to actually explain that shit. Fuck that. Yeah.
That's and I love that he does it in just one reference, just one name drop, and it gives you all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's in the Pumping Iron documentary, you're gonna see there's like a clip where you see Lou Ferrigno working out. It's like, oh, he's always been like this. In the beginning, no, it's like all skinny and nerdy. He actually had think he was deaf at one point too, and then, like as a kid. So yeah, like
See, how does Mark even know all this? Like,
He's the historian.
Pumping Iron, man. It's a good flick, man. You watch Pumping Iron, it makes you want to. It's like watching Rocky IV. Like you always want, after you're done watching Rocky IV, you want to go to some Alps, and you want to like lift farm equipment and boulders and run it, like chase, just run in the snow, running away from Russians. So tomato, bologna. I used to Fraggle Rock ya. But now I Fraggle Stone ya. So peace to Fraggle Rock. If you had HBO in the 80s, you had Fraggle Rock. A loner, I can't swim, I'm lamping in my hoodie, and I get down and boogie, oogie, because we're just someone that's on the mic.
I like that shit, man. I like how they play off of references. We can't reference like that no more.
Down
We
and
just
boogie, oogie, oogie.
Down. Oh. There's another one like that.
References galore with DOS effects, and I'm not even upset at it. I like it's entertaining. It's just not you're not bombarded with it in a way where it's like, oh god, another reference. Like no, these guys are nice with it. This is a nice presentation of how you do these kind of references.
Do you guys know any direct? Well, Mark, do you know any direct influences that DOS effects have like helped as far as rappers are concerned? I've heard some names, but like I don't think that they influence. There has been mention that they influence like all the way down the Tribe, right? But I haven't heard Tribe directly express that they influenced them.
I feel like there's a couple of people I'm thinking off my head, but I don't know if they've come out and said it. First thought in my head was Crisscross. Using a little bit of that
wiggity wet.
Yeah.
A little bit. Who else that I was thinking about? I know Jay-Z and
Jay-Z and Jazz, yeah.
They kind of. But they did it differently, so I don't know. Maybe
Ice Cube,
I
mean, Ice Cube, I think, because he used them. So I don't know, like
Naughty by Nature, maybe a little.
Yeah, Naughty by Nature. There we go. Tretch got them fucking
like
crazy flows, man. Tretch is incredible.
A lot of the cats from Rex and Effects. But see, this is a few of the artists that we're naming. Yeah. They're gonna be around this same time because my first one off the jump was Del the Funky Homo Sapien, but Del the Funky Homo Sapien actually has an album that predates this one. So it's kind of like,
chicken or the egg here.
Yeah, exactly. But I think even if you go a decade out, you're thinking 2002, maybe even probably Big Pun, Fat Joe.
Eminem, I think Eminem and
I think a bunch of
8 Mile, splickety ickety.
Specifically on 8 Mile.
He kind of did that a little bit.
But yeah, no, M actually, I can see M being influenced by DOS effects as well. Yeah, I got you.
I'm sure there's a lot more too that we're just like not even thinking about right now that also do it.
But not just from the flow, just how they reference and how they land their punches. You feel me?
How they land their punches. Yeah. So
like to flip a punchline to me is a unique idea.
I'm noticing a trend. I don't know, if this is even accurate or not, Dre, but I'm noticing a trend where they're dropping at the end of that bar. At the end of their bars, it's almost they got a reference almost every other bar. There's a reference.
Every couplet, every 2 bars, you're gonna see a reference to something,
like a name drop or a reference
or a setup to the name drop. Yeah. So like it might be a slight reference to it, and then on the second bar, he's gonna land on it.
Yeah.
Or they'll just open up like I'm like Slick Rick the Ruler, but I'm cooler than Calvin. My mom's name is June, but my pop's name is Alvin. Just to give you some facts about themselves, whatever.
I'm thinking, just when I hear about it, I like the song Ghetto Music came to me from Outkast. I think Big Boy.
Yeah.
Big Boy sounds a little bit like DOS effects.
And no, you're right, because Big Boy he like double times out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of no, but only, like for small little portions, really small portions, similar to this. But he's not doing fillers though. He's actually using the word when he does his triplet.
Watch me bend him when I take him to the top shop. God, dude, how long is it?
Slithering like a lizard when I'm slizzard, or 6 billion ways before you. Like I'm trying to think of moments that he did the double time thing. But yeah, Big Boy for sure.
That's tricky too. I mean, to get words to fit that, to fit those syllables, that's pretty tricky.
You gotta know your timing, man. You gotta know
that's pretty tricky to do. But props to anybody who does that. That's sick.
And then none of their lyrics in the like they're never off beat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these guys are really good at staying on.
Ray and Scoop are just on it, bro. Perfectly placed.
I feel like they're also humble dudes too. On top of that, like I don't feel like
I never see them in the spotlight, man. I'm
they're kind of
all you guys is when you guys were looking up the DOS effects interviews,
right?
How do you have is there like a date timestamp on any of those or like
we got some in the late 2000s. I was trying to watch the most recent ones. And the one I watched would Be Real. I thought that was just perfect. You know, they're smoking, they're just chilling and being as natural as possible. And they're just humble guys, man. They almost kind of look like they just accidentally got here. Yeah. Even though they're like, they knew they were describing their flow and what they do is just like, they just wanted to be different, right? Everybody was sounding a certain way. They wanted to do their own way. And that's all. It's like so simple when you see how they explain it. Yeah. It's just like, we just wanted to do something different.
They had a whiteboard out there.
Yeah. They had schematics.
Schematics.
All right, so while we're here, man, third one, they want effects. We got to hit this one, man. This thing is crazy.
Stickity bump. I got that over.
Rumpa-pump-pump.
Now, okay, so what is a rumpa-pum-pum? What is that called?
Piece to the little drummer boy.
Yeah, to that Christmas.
But what is that called? Is it called a reference or like musically? What do they call those references? Or motifs or something? What do they call it?
I guess, either reference, because I mean, it literally says rumpa pum pum in the song.
Rhythmically, they're matching exactly from there. Mm-hmm. I just thought there's a term for it. I think it's probably motif or something like that.
But I can fee-fi or fo diddly bum, here I come. So Peter Piper, I'm hyper than Pinocchio's nose because I'm a supercalifragilistic tic-tac-pro.
Okay, so this, when you hear supercalifragilistic tic-tac-pro, people went crazy. That was like the craziest rhyme ever. Even though he's not like, modern rhyming is they rhyme from fucking to the S to the C, right? But to me, it's just the idea you got supercalifragilistic in that bitch.
And think about right here. They just mentioned, so Peter Piper, I'm hyper than Pinocchio's nose. Like even the reference to Peter Piper and the way they just dropped that there, like I can picture like a parallel because Peter Piper is.
You could picture a parallel, Peter Piper.
Yeah,
picture a Piper.
Peter Piper is one of those like rhymes that are just tongue twisters.
Yeah.
But what are they doing here?
They're playing
tongue twisting.
Yeah.
So it's like a parallel. It's a tongue twister, but here's the masters of the tongue twisting game referencing the most tongue twister thing you could do. And he's like doing dances around it.
Then right after that, going with supercalifragilistic tic-tac-pro.
Exactly.
But don't sleep on the Peter Piper is it's an alliteration off of P's, right? But it's a tongue twister based off of P's, and he lands on Pinocchio just to fuck with you. Yeah. So, I mean, come on, man. My dude.
So you're saying it's a perfectly placed parallel, perpendicular to the...
Particularly perpendicular,
literally,
to the point,
and like theoretically,
positioned properly for perfect.
Piggity perfect.
Tic-tac-pro again with like the maneuvering of these like words. Like you picture tic-tac-toe, you're crossing things over, you're jumping things.
Yes, exactly.
Like that's what he's doing. He's just going all over like bah bah bah.
Exactly. So you feel me then? So this one, man, I feel like this shit got people going crazy.
Imagine hearing that beat though, too, and then just like being like, damn, I'm gonna start this off with bump stiggity bum. I got that old.
The next line they came up with Google, like Drazy the
Googly
books,
Googly discovered Google before it existed.
I googled goo.
Where's the goo? Where's the gravy?
Yeah.
But see what I'm saying? Like they create words almost like now we have, like that's so.
Dude,
sick.
this is like we're mixing up nursery rhymes with little drummer boy references, Pinocchio.
But it's dead serious.
Buckle my buckle my shoe, yabba do hibbity hoo, crack a brew. So
trick or treat, smell my feet. Yep, I drippity dropped the
He's
hit.
basically Dr. Seussing right
He's
now.
There we go. He's using nursery rhymes.
Bro.
He's Dr. Seuss.
He probably was Dr. Seuss's ghostwriter.
Maybe.
Dr. Seuss's go-to. But yeah,
Wait.
Yeah. Did Dre ever tell you he dressed up as Dr. Seuss for Halloween one time?
Oh yeah, dressed up as Dr. Seuss. Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
All I did was put on a random wig and just wore my regular clothes and told him I'm Dr. Seuss, and people believed me
because no one knew.
Nobody knew who Dr. Seuss.
It worked.
Stupid.
What's with dead serious? Find out in 30 years.
Yeah, man. All right, so 1, 2, buckle my shoes. So once again, they're playing off of the idioms that are phrases and bits of language that we use on a regular basis, right? To me, I feel like they're scheming off of that concept, and they made it the whole song.
This song is it's hitting the nos in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
This is the most DOS effects you can get out of this whole album to me.
And you know what's different here that I think I'm realizing is that they're not just choosing words blindly. Like they're not just like airheaded, like yibbity ya, yibbity yay.
No,
they're like specifically intentionally using that yibbity ya to try to like
it's their science.
It's exactly. It's a science to it.
And
they're
think
not even just blankly like just, you know, they're actually intentfully using these words.
Yeah. No, to me, I feel like, this song is supposed to show the trick. Mm-hmm. I think that's all it is. It's like, this is our trick and this is what we're doing. That's why it's the effect, right? So books get on your mark and spark their old censorship. Drats and double drats. A smiggity smack some whiz kids. The boogity woogity Brooklyn boy's about to get his dig. It's just my waist bone's connected to my hip bone. Like, what are you doing now?
Yes.
Right? And he's going to do all those plays all the way to my knee bone's connected to my hardy har, my funny bone, right? So big old setup. 4 bars in a row, and he's going to land on the funny bone.
And then this is again, just hearing you go through this, Dre, is actually giving me images in my head where I'm thinking like, they're almost like transcending things that we've nursery rhymes, and they're taking it and they're like, almost like just blending it now with something that's more adult and more like hip hop now.
Well, yeah.
It's like something I can't even describe in words what they're doing, but they're taking something and they're just adapting it and they're making something new with it.
They're elevating I think the idea that's dead serious is they're using nursery rhymes in that context, right? Some cute, right? And I'm trying to think of other MCs that would go in that direction, right? Because that's kind of soft.
Method Man.
Yeah.
METHOD, man.
Right.
He starts going through, hey, you get off my stuff.
But that's rare though. Like it's not like everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And then for this one though, I just feel like they went for rhythm. And they went for like playing off the references. They played off the references perfectly. That's why it's like, this is the go-to for me.
Yeah. It's to the references to a lot of childhood favorites. You know, even when they say skip the Ovaltine, I'd rather have my honeycomb, or preferably the Sensimilla, the Spiggity Spark, the blunts. Dun 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 dun. What effects? Some DOS effects.
So, like, I don't know how to explain it better than that. They're playing with figures of speech.
Shit's so wild, man.
We know what that's the way the cookie crumbles is, right? But what they're going to do is they're going to take this well-known phrase and they're going to modify it and make it better. That's what they're going for. So this whole shit to me just like, it was over. They want effects.
Well, I'll be darned. Shimmy Timbers, yo. Head for the heels. I picked a weeping willow
and a daffodil.
So back up, Buffo, or I'll pulverize McGruff, because this little piggy gets busy and stuff. Arrivederci. Heaven send the mercy, honky tonk, and get the swift. I caught a snuffleupagus and smoke a boogaloo spliff.
So look at that. Just the word choices. Yeah. Word choices to me, this is like that Hannibal Buress song I'm saying. Like snuffleupagus and boogaloo, right? Like, why are you putting them together? They're not supposed to be together.
I got the nooks, the crannies, the nitty gritty 40 though. So all aboard, cast away. Hey, where's my boogaloo? Meaning shrimp.
Yeah.
He's like,
I thought they were saying, where's the bungalow?
Oh, you guys hang out with us, you'll find out where the bungalow is.
Yeah, y'all know where the bungalow is.
Ooh, I'm steaming agony. Why is everybody always picking on me? Call me Puddin' Tane. It raps my game. You ask me again, and I'll tell you the same. Since I'm the vocal vegetarian, stick 'em up the freeze. So no park sausages, Mom, please.
So the vocal vegetarian.
Okay, so there's a Australian spread called Vegemite, and I'm thinking that he's saying he's a vegetarian. So look, there's a Vegemite. You remember that one song? I think I'll make a Vegemite sandwich. I forget what the song. The song goes, "I'll come from a land down under." They'll say they mention Vegemite, and I was like, "What the fuck's Vegemite?" I looked it up. Vegemite's a spread in Australia. So when it comes to, if you ever get it shipped, it'll show up upside down because it's all the way around the other side of the earth.
Peace to Australia. Peace to Australia.
Peace to Australia, mate. So no park sausages, Mom, please. A blitz shoot the breeze, twiddly D shoots his lips. Crazy Daisy shot the sheriff, yup, and I shot the gift. God, that's I'm just like,
yeah, you're trying to piece it together, right?
I want to see the rhyme pad. Like, do they got they probably have it at the Smithsonian. Like,
yeah, they do.
Like the same way that they locked up that the T-800's arm in Terminator 2. You need two people to unlock it. You need a code.
You have to eye scan. You got to get an eye scan.
And all of a sudden, it's DOS Effects' lyrics, like just breaking code.
certain words are illuminated.
This isn't it will never be atypical rap lyricism, and it won't in any era.
Mm-hmm.
This is DOS effects at this moment in time, and damned if it's ever damned if anyone tries to duplicate it, because it'll get found out. But this is like this is the genesis of a style.
Their bread and butter.
Yeah, it's a genesis of a style that's super unique and just one of a kind type of hip hop group.
It warms my heart.
Is this style locked into the 90s, or can it be used today, you think?
It can be used today. Actually, it kind of works better today because you can differentiate from these like basic straightforward flows and throw in these mini flows out of nowhere. And real quick, it's just the triplets they throw in there, they're not even consistent per bar. It's like he's throwing a triplet at the beginning of the bar, midway through the bar, then at the end of the bar in three different bars. So it's almost unpredictable, and I like that. That's what it
in a way
like.
To where, can someone outside of DOS effects even try to duplicate this?
They shouldn't try. But
they got the code for this. This is,
it has to be authentic to them if they're gonna even it has to be a rapper who, this is just something out of their, like, this is just flowing out of them. It has to be something like that.
Yeah,
that can pull it off.
So,
or it has to be a rapper who's so experienced that they're adding to their repertoire, like a Eminem, let's say, for example, who can add this to their flow maybe and pull it off. So it has to be one of the two.
M's already like perfect cell. You want him freaking like DOS effects too, like just like adding more styles, like the androids. Just taking.
I was making
styles between styles.
Did you guys see there was the post I did with when we were talking about Eminem or something, and I put Rap God, and I didn't remember the scene in his music video, but he's literally floating in the air with like books flying around him. And I was like, what the heck? What the heck is going on here?
That's what happens when he raps.
Every bar is that,
dog,
bro.
I think
you freaking Magneto or what?
Bro, Rapnito? You got all the bars?
I think like his trajectory to super hyper lyricism started off, dude, that BET Cypher.
Oh yeah, that was
when he goes on, they had him go last, right? As I recall,
they did.
Like, because him going off first, you just end it.
Yeah,
because no one else can come after that.
You're not gonna listen to anybody.
I think that's like the crazy part about him. It's like that was like if you're talking about a big book about M, this is like the last few chapters of the leading up to Rap God, where it starts off.
I think
the
thing I like about M though is like he's had hit and misses. I like that about him because that means he's not he'll allow you to like him missing sometimes allows him to be extra great. Because he's missed or failed. Yeah, it allows him to like not hold back.
Yeah,
and I think that's what gives us the greatness when we get like that revenge battle rap Eminem.
Yeah, it was like, it was him.
That murder Eminem.
It was him taking the hit of like, oh man, you're homophobic. Oh yeah, watch me do a presentation with Elton John.
Right.
And have raising his hand at the end and be like,
exactly.
So
I remember that they tried to cancel him for a little bit. Like
they tried to I think he tried to get canceled like
they tried to cancel
him
for the wrong shit too. He's like people didn't even know he made the song Kim, and they fucking tried to cancel him. They didn't even hear Kim before. Right. So it's kind of crazy.
What was it? It was so after the chorus of that one, we go Yahoo hidey ho. Yup, I'm coming down the stretch, so Fido boy, fetch. All
right, so that's an animal play, right? Like Yahoo, hidey ho, something you do when you're riding a horse, right? Those are like the sounds you make when you're having fun. Yep. So I thought it was like a play on a farm or something like that.
It's kind of clever how they're pulling in all these little phrases in life too. They're pulling them all in here and condensing it onto this track, which is pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
These are all things that like little sayings that you hear in life. Yippity zippity. Like
he's doing that. Like in regards to, I think the presentation of the single is like your single's supposed to show people something. And this is like the best example of a single doing his job.
Yeah, and even and it's not like listening to all these lyrics. The music video is a trip too because they're like carrying torches and they're like all dark. It's like in a dark near dumpsters. It's a trip. It's a trip. Like if you ever we end up watching that one, they're like both of them are holding torches in New York. And I'm like, damn, like it's that dark out there. You need like
There's no lights out there, bro.
going back to that verse, I got a rope a dope, slippery choker. Look at me, get raw. Peace out to the rope a dope, Muhammad Ali. And I'm the hickory dickory top of the morning boogaloo big jaw with the yippity zippity Winnie the Pooh bad boy blue. Yo, I got the gusto. What up? I swing that too. So nincompoop, give a hoop, a stomp a troop without a strain like Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Yes. It's hard. It's work, man.
I almost got a biggity brain aneurysm like trying to do that lyric.
Yeah.
I spiggity sparkle flip and give a twist like Chubby Checker. I take my Fruit Loops with 2 scoops and make a double decker. Or Finster baby come to Papa Duke a boobaloo. Oh, a boobaloo boogity boo. What the fuck?
It definitely messes with your mind.
No,
if you really
reading
try
it.
to think about it.
Nigga, reading this shit is stupid. Like when you read it, it's like they really had to write boogaloo boogity boo. Like they have to write this shit and then fucking recite it. Like
This is the next bar after. It's just the epitome of just random fucking ridiculous stuff. That worked. I went from Gucci to Stussy to Figgity Flamma Groupie to Zaza, a yibbity yabbity, Daba Hoochie Coochie. Tally ho. I'll take my. Dude, if we say a bunch of DOS Effects lyrics at the same time, there's gonna be like a black cloud over because we just summoned like this ghost.
it's a vortex.
Yeah.
It's like in Child's Play. Child's Play when freaking that guy who possessed Chucky. He's like Hoso Boso Topa. If we mix it up with Zaza Yibbity Yabba Hoochie Hoochie Coochie.
No, picture me really trying to like listen though. Okay, I'm like, okay, now let me try to focus in. What are they really saying? And I'm zoomed in on this part. To Zaza, yippity yabba dude, yabbity hoochie coochie.
And you're thinking of platinum, like as you read this though.
You're thinking of
Platinum album.
Exactly.
To Zaza, the yibbity yabba daba hoochie coochie. Tally ho, I'll take my stove top instead of potato. So maybe I'll shoot him now.
Oh,
No,
maybe I'll shoot him later. Yo.
Yep.
I used to have a dog.
And Bingo was his name. Oh.
Bingo.
Oh. You do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around. So look at this shit. Like it's okay. I think it's called motifs. Yeah, and they're just motifs to other songs that already exist, right? Jay-Z motifs, if that's what it's called. And Jay-Z would just take a line from your song and then add it to the beginning of his song and then rap the rest of the song. So in this shit, I feel like they're doing kind of that Jay-Z move, the whole fucking scheme. And to me, I guess the nursery plays work off of some shit that you wouldn't normally pick. So today, modern schemers or modern guys that like to associate their words, they would do Dragon Ball C, when you die, you'll be frozen, you'll go cool. When I freeze a MC, you'll see who's cooler, shit like that, right? They're just throwing in associations. But usually Dragon Ball Z has already been done 1,000 times. So if you were a battle rapper, how do you, attack your opponent with something completely original? And then that's when you see dudes reference shit like the judicial system, right? Like, how does that even work? Or just sports, like a sports game that was really popular in the finals. But if you want to be unique, this is kind of the angle. They're doing nursery rhymes, right? You're doing some hard shit on some nursery rhymes. That's just how it works. It's really hard to pull this shit off, to be honest, man. Honestly,
yeah. And to spin it in a way where
that's
people
not
are
corny.
Just like,
it's not corny in any way, and that's kind of the hard part. How do you make it not corny?
It's
and
right.
it's not corny.
Right.
So like, corny is something people fight in hip hop.
It's a delicate dance too, but combination of the lyrics, combination of a really good beat, combination of the presentation of it.
You gotta have skill. Like, there's just no way without it. Otherwise, it would be corny.
Yeah.
Like, they had to have skill in order to pull this off, and that's just bottom line what it is. Like, they had the vocal tone, they had the right delivery, they had probably everything. Like, all the factors we were listing down, they have that. It's just that they chose to do this style that was completely like different. Like, nobody ever came close to doing something like this.
It'd be so nice to see them live like that.
And it sounds good. Like, like it sounds pleasing, ear pleasing to the ear. Cause the timing of it is damn near perfect.
Yeah.
So you gotta appreciate just the timing of it is dope.
Oh yeah. But it's premiere album, man. They hungry.
Yeah.
They're hungry. They're starving. This is their first shot and they made that shit.
I think
they made that shit. They scored, man.
A factor that we like to include on this show here. I like the fact that if you're gonna listen to them do these lyrics live and do all that, dude, that fucking concert would probably be epic. Yeah. Like
Life
Public Enemy concert. Oh,
Yeah.
good Lord.
Yeah.
DOS Effects doing this with the beats and everything, like suited for outdoor activity. I'd be outside for that one.
Yeah.
I'd wear Flavor Flav's clock for that.
I'd wear Flavor Flav's clock. You'd wear Flavor Flav's clock to DOS Effects' concert, and I'll dress like a Black Panther to DOS Effects' concert. It's like, you guys need to switch.
Let me check out this video here. Let's see.
So you gonna watch it real quick?
Yeah, see, look at. They're literally, it's like, and there's a couple cuts where homeboy's holding a torch. Look at that. Who's holding a torch in New York?
Couple of Dutch angles. Dutch angles real quick.
It's funky.
Yeah.
It's like they probably took the same location from Cool as Ice.
I wouldn't have expected.
The beginning part of Cool as Ice.
I visually didn't expect, the visuals to match.
And so
that.
picture the lyrics of, let me see, since we can't fill it in.
Would you
we
take
have-
them more serious with the music video? Seeing it that way?
Seeing it this way.
Would you take the song more
I
seriously?
guess you do.
Yeah,
I feel
so-
like you do.
It's not a joke.
Just picturing the song and they go, well, I'll be damned, shiver me timbers, head for the hills, I'll be the weeping. Nothing of that looks like Weeping Willow or Smack a Daffodil.
No, they seem like they're about to kill you right now. Like,
They talk about Waxing McGruff and that.
yeah, but googly goo, where's my where's the gravy? It doesn't. I don't get that.
Dude, where do they find torches?
Right.
But
I thought those were like Hollywood production type shit. Like they had like a legit ass torch.
But I mean, we joke around, of course, with the video, but like legit skills, man. These guys, got
yeah, of
skills,
course.
mad skills.
Much love to the brothers, man.
And I think the overall productions, what really worked hand in hand and suited it really nicely. So in the background of them doing their tricks, you have this production that just sounds so nice, gives you good energy. It's high energy. And like I said, I feel like you could just play it for a house party, like all day, just let that run, and that would do the job. You wouldn't have to like sit there and DJ it, like just let it run through. Like,
Yeah, no one could duplicate the style, but it can the replayability of this album. It's timeless. Like it'll be recognized as probably one of the most influential albums in hip hop.
influential, yeah, very influential.
Definitely.
You could tell where people got the whole style from.
Yeah. Real talk.
I feel like
Absolutely.
it definitely gives you like a new tool, even as an artist. Like if you really wanted to try to make something work, there's no boundaries. There's
Yeah.
no boundaries in hip hop. Like literally, you can do whatever the hell you want, and like if you can pull it off,
This is DOS Effects is by definition of
Right.
like carte blanche, hands free. And I love the fact that we can keep mentioning like influential because you saw that direct by record sales. We don't really like taking that as a direct thing, but it's like a style like this
Right.
isn't atypical of tremendous sales, but it's a platinum selling effort, their debut album. And granted, that's going to bring a lot of people to be like, hey, this style worked. This style got me to this. Well, this style got DOS Effects to platinum status.
right?
Let me get
I'll
there
take a
with
little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Make my own thing.
Make my own thing on it.
So I had some little facts here. The album was certified, was a certified hit, peaking at 16 on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart.
Yeah, that's just
topping R&B and hip hop albums chart for 5 weeks, reaching platinum sales by 1993. So it wasn't even that long until it reached platinum.
A lot of that's a lot to do with the hip hop charts in 1992 because there was a lot of pop going around. There's a lot of pop going around for that to jump up to that as high as that in 1992 at the not even like the rap Hot 100 or whatever, but like actually the top 200 songs. That's a trip in itself.
That's not an easy feat either. So
No.
yeah. Takeaways, Dre. What are you thinking?
In regards to like a few ideas, rhythm matters and cadence matters. Your ability to rhyme and rap is cool, but especially if you want to expand in the world of style, you have to do some things that are rhythmically unusual. That's how we can get unique artists like Ludacris and even Danny Brown. Their deliveries are beyond understanding, right? What I see here is more of a technical ability, and that's them understanding timing and rhythm in order to make their flows a little more exciting. And with the modern listen, with my current ear, it's literally the 90s flow that we're familiar with bits of the most popular flows today. They're just put together in one fucking sound. So I'm just picturing back then in that time period, hearing it for the first time and just going, what the fuck is that? Right? I don't know what they're doing rhythmically because there's nobody teaching this shit. This shit isn't being taught around this time. It's not even like a practical concept to teach it yet. So when you hear it for the first time, it's like, I don't know how to do this. So that idea alone, after they get past the rhythmic barrier, there's fucking punchlines waiting for you. So all that work really does something because you have to keep coming back to it. Even though if they're telling you a story and they throw in the hibbity bibbities, it makes the story more interesting, you know? So to me, I learned that cadence is very important. Like flow matters. And they're doing it in a way that's not predictable. When the unpredictable nature of what they're doing is what stands out the most to me. Because you can listen to the whole album and there's not going to be a consistent moment where that triplet hits at the same spot on the beat. So they're not ever off beat, so they have a great understanding of rhythm. So what I want people to understand is the influence from this album to me comes from the play on flows and the ability to reference some nerdy shit in a cool way.
Yeah.
But really the flows is what, like, I couldn't even blink.
What about you? Mike?
Do that example that you brought up about Dr. Seuss really plays into the summation of this whole album, because it's like Dr. Seuss came in and wrecked shop with his own books. He taught Hop on Pop, Green Eggs and Ham. Yeah. Had his own language, even had a Yertle the Turtle, stuff like that.
His own visual, distinct style.
These gentlemen popped on the scene, their own distinct style, made it cool to even just talk about Ovaltine, honeycomb, fucking Vegemite in a way, rope-a-dope, slippery scope, like, you know,
Boogaloos.
Like this is just saying all those words. They mean nothing in the terms of like if someone just says it in just plain language, but you structure lyricism with it, you structure a dope beat with it, you structure the presentation of them being authentic in that style to themselves, and you got believability and like, oh, dude, this is funky. Mm-hmm. Like this is, it's a beautiful mix. It's a beautiful dance that they did with this song, with this album. Yeah. And though it may sound like it does feel like a template in most of these songs, but still it's always unique because there's never a duplicate of their iggities, because though the letter always changes, there's always a new bar to use. Yeah. And with that brings spontaneity and just like being excited to listen to what they have to say.
Yeah. Well, how about this? This is the best example of going platinum off originality.
Yeah, I feel you. I think so, because and you know, their creativity, they like created their own language, their own
it's originality, like literal and true originality.
And with this success too, I mean, like, so with platinum selling, I mean, a lot of sales, a lot of people, presenting the album to other people, that influence spreads out. Listening to that, people want to rap for the first time. They listen to Das Effects, branches off a style, just grows more branches off the tree of hip hop into the Das Effects section.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they for sure forever have made their mark, because no matter whether the references date them or not, like that style is going to forever transcend. You know, that's a unique sound that you can always go back to. That's Das Effects. Yeah. You know, no matter which way you cut it, you know, that's going to always be something that was theirs, you know? So I think in that light, you know, that's something that kind of opened my eyes to, you know, these guys were kind of like the originators of that. And not only that, but like they mastered that, you know, they did it so well and pulled it off just like almost just, you know, who's
like they've been doing it. It's their first album was like, now we've been doing this.
Can't beat this.
Like it's so crazy. Like just even reading it back, it's like, it makes me laugh, because I'm like,
how'd y'all get away with that?
It
bullshit?
Sounds, yibbity, yibbity, yabbida, dabbida, hoochie coochie. Like, it's just it's so crazy how, and I love it because it's a mixture, and I feel like, and I love that about like when you get creative, sometimes you just got to throw the paint everywhere and like let it just land where it lands, and like, you know, out of that you get a masterpiece sometimes, like just, you know, let it flow. And I think that's so important. Sometimes I think it was, who was it? Ghostface Killer. He goes, man, these cats asked me what I was talking about when I wrote this. He goes, shit,
I didn't know.
I was just making it. And then Rekwan too, he goes, I just had to make it flow, man. I just made up something because it sounded dope.
Playing with rhythms.
So,
yeah, I remember Ghost was talking about, he was I was just trying new rhythms and pockets. I just wanted to try new pockets. So I just wrote bullshit and went for the pockets.
Right.
I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's back when people are trying to interpret it. It was like, I was just making shit up.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's something that comes up sometimes as you're writing, and you feel like, you know, this sounds nice, this sounds good, you know, you just feel it, and you got to go with that sometimes, you know, as nonsensical as it is.
That's
works.
the gut feeling that you get, that you got to go with it.
Yeah. So, this one's a good one, Mark. This one was a good one. This definitely, I think taught me something new, even in hip hop. You know, we kind of think we kind of know it all, but this kind of taught me something new here, and just how, you know, their tricks and how they used it, and it's pretty cool because that's the thing I'm trying to do with this podcast. I'm just trying to soak it all up, because, you know, like, I'm still hungry and I'm still trying to work on my project. Like, that's something I'm trying to soak up. I don't think I'll ever master it like these guys.
No,
these guys were like, man, they killed it.
This is the thing that really, really matters. And I'm going to close it with this. It's like, when you do it organically and you're just having fun, you're going to get that result, man. But if you try to make mechanics before you even get the ball rolling, something different happens.
Yeah, you already got the destination lined out before you even got the journey started.
Yeah, right.
Enjoy the journey.
I just looked at Doom real quick and I thought about him. He doesn't really... He deliberately breaks consistency. And that was something I fought with him for years. Even as a rhymer, I'm so particular about structure being perfect. And Doom fucks with me because he knows that rap ain't supposed to be that symmetrical and even. So Doom reminds me of kind of the flavor of what they're doing. All their triplets are not where you want them to be as a rapper. Like me, if I would have wrote some shit, I'm like, I wouldn't have put the flippity there, right? But they're doing it that way. So, you know, when you see them play with this is like a new trick for rap, and the whole album, they do the trick every way that they can in unique ways, right? Dope. They exhaust the trick all the way through. For example, like a movie that uses a new screen technique, right? Like the orange screen, like you've never seen an orange screen before, and it looks realer than real life. And they use the gimmick every way they can all the way to the end of the movie, and nobody can duplicate it. That's what it feels like. The move is so simple, yet when you try it yourself, it fucks your writing process up.
Yeah, it's DOS effects. You listen to them, and you don't get the atypical lyricism. So it actually stimulates dopamine going into you, because you're hearing something new, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. A lot of things start connecting in your brain, because then you have the consciousness of like your youth bringing in with modern day hip hop. Yeah. So there's just a lot to ingest when listening to them, because a lot of things, for the first time, a lot of things start firing off. Right. Funky style, references.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, it's overwhelming in the most beautiful way, because you get a very unique rush listening to them.
Yeah. And at first, a lot was flying over my head. Like, I was like, whoa. Stop. Let me go
Slow
back.
down.
Let me play this again.
And it's not even it's not fast, but it feels fast, right? It's an effect to me. It's the DOS effect. I finally understand. Just fly out of this bitch.
Just the men that cover hip hop.
So thank you guys for joining us on this episode. We're dropping episodes every Monday. We appreciate the love, the support, the vibes. Please leave us a comment. Please follow, share, find us if you haven't. We appreciate all of that, man. And that's what gets us going, and to keep doing these episodes and put out more. Obviously, we're all three passionate about hip hop. We all love it, and it's something that we, you know, take part of as far as the art form. Also, I wanted to mention that on every 5 episodes, we're going to be doing freestyles at the end of this. So
yeah. So
catch havoc.
Catch right.
At the end of these episodes, we're about to go in.
when you consider your favorite hip hop podcasts, always consider, do they review albums? Yes. But do they freestyle at the end of every 5th episode?
Probably
That has to play into heavy consideration. Not only do we talk shop, we wreck shop too.
We riggedy wreck shop.
What a way to close that. All right, everybody. So thank you guys for joining us. Hope you guys have a good week. Peace.
Peace to the All Music Guide.